Oh. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Jnaneshwari, chapter 11, Vishwarup Darshan Yoga Nama, and we are in the OV number 36. And here we have seen Arjuna thought to himself, can I express him, can I press him to show me this universal form all of a sudden, even when none of his favorite devotees had done so, even though I am intimate with him, am I close to him as his mother Yashoda? But she also did not ask him this, even though I have served the Lord as best as I could it equal the service which is rendered to him by Garuda? But he too did not press the Lord to show him his universal form. Am I as close to him as sages like Sanakadi? But even they did not express to him their intense desire to see this vision. Now has the Lord more fondness for me than the cowherds and cowardesses of Gokul? But he also confounded the people of Gokula by feigning to be a child. He suffered birth in the womb on 10 occasions for someone, King Ambarisha, but withheld from him his universal form. See? This is the head and heart disposition that is required when we are approaching a teacher, when you are approaching the Lord, wherever, in a temple, in your altar, in the scriptures. Because we are reading scriptures, but scriptures will become our own only when we are totally surrendered to the scriptures, when we are reverence to the scriptures, when we respect every word that is given in the Bhagavad Gita, then the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita will automatically become ours without our trying, because it will be her grace. See, we should never take anything for granted in life. Neither the Lord, neither the teachers, neither the Mahatmas, neither the scriptures, neither the husband nor the wife, nor the children. Where you take it for granted, you are inviting trouble or an response or an experience which you had never thought of. But when you are not expecting anything, when you are not taking them for granted, then you are ever alert. You are ever alert. See, that alertness should be inborn. And that only comes when sadhana happens, when we realize that everything that we have is not because we have gained it, it is because others have bestowed it upon us. Just like simple example, when we go and give charity, what if the other person says, no, I don't want? I gave you that example. Baba Amtev had come, people collected the money and gave it to him. He says, I don't want money. So the need is ours. Need is not there. The person whom we are giving, it is not his need. How do we know? It is my need at this present moment. It is my need to conduct a satsang. Why? I am the first student of this satsang that is going on. That is why I keep doing it and never get tired of it. Why? It has to click. It is a continuous reminder. As many clicks as I can get, I am hungry for them. See, isn't it? But if I come here, no, I know it all, and you are fools of the highest order, and I have to impart this profound knowledge that I have got, and very soon I will have an experience which I can't even imagine at the moment. Isn't it? Never take anything. And that is the beauty of our culture, the Hindu culture. The moment you get up in the morning, we don't take it for granted. Immediately, Karagre vasate Lakshmi Karamule Saraswati Karamaddedu Govinda Prabhate Karadarshanam. The moment you touch, before you touch your feet to the ground, you don't take the ground to be taken for granted. You invoke the goddess earth. Prithvi Tvai Dhruta Aloka, that mantra is there. You chant that. The moment you take shower, immediately Samudre Vasate Devi. So they're different ones. Similarly, the moment you take shower, you don't take shower for granted, because today you have water, maybe tomorrow there is nothing. So Gangai cha Yamune chaiva Godavari. So the water is the same. It could be dirty also, but the moment you chant that mantra in your mind, it is the purest water that is coming and blessing you. You will get horripulations. See, that same Gajanan Maharaj, if you read his biography or movie, they made the movie out of it now, out of his biography, life. The first time that he was found, he was drinking water from a gutter. And the person, the yajman of this house, the host of that house, outside the house of which this gutter was flowing, he had seen him eating food from the rubbish heap, eating himself from the leftovers and feeding it to the dog also. And then to push it down, he came to the gutter, picked up the water, because in those days the gutters were outside, they were not underground like today. All the water is to come to the front and then it is to flow off. And he drank. And the host shouted, "You look young, you look intelligent. Are you mad? Don't you have any dignity that this water is not to be drunk? That this food is not to be eaten? It is all rubbish. And can't you see the germs in this water?" This gentleman, Mahatma Ji, Gajanan Maharaj, he turned around and said, "No, I see Ganga Ji flowing." And he picked up the water and showed him, "See, absolutely clear, there is nothing." That becomes your experience then. Once you start seeing divinity, this is the way you wash your mind with reminding the mind that everything is divine. Every morning is divine, the earth is divine, the water is divine, the sun is divine, Bhurbu Asva Tatsaviturvarenyam. And your whole day gets pervaded with divine thoughts. Then automatically, somewhere along the way, at its own pace, at its own time, in its own whatever way he wants it to come to you, when you are ready, your vision will change. Your vision will change. A small child, that Bhageshri, in the camp, I told her, "I got a young mother called Bhageshri. From that day onwards, she's taking me like a son." I go to her house, she feeds me. Before I used to feed her. After the retreat, she feeds me every time I go to her house. Then I have to rest afterward. She'll come to the bed, sit cross-legged, take my head in her lap and give me massage. My baby has to sleep now. Don't disturb everyone. She screams at others. See? She's play acting, but the real mother in her will be invoked only at the right time. She cannot fast forward it at a physical level. Right now it's at the emotional level. It's an idea in her head. See? So leave it to him. And therefore Arjuna is saying here, am I worthy of having this vision? Am I qualified? Am I ready? So here he continues from the 36th verse. हा ठायवरी गुज याचिये अंतरीचे हे निज केवी उरा उरी मज पुसो ये पा आणि न पुसेची जरी म्हणे तरी विश्वरूप देखलिया विणे सुख नोहेची परी झिणे तेही विपाये म्हणोनी आता पुसो अळुमाळसे मग करू देवा आवडे तैसे येणे पर्वताला पवर्तला साध्वसे पार्थू बोलो परितेची ऐसे निभावे जे एका दो उत्तरा सवे दावी विश्वरूप आघवे झाडा देऊनी अहो वासरू देखलियाची साठी धेनू खडबडोनी मोहे उठी मग स्तना मुखाची भेटी काय पान्हा धरे. He says, how could I then ask him all of a sudden to disclose his great secret? But if I do not ask him now, I shall feel not only ill at ease, but shall find it difficult to live. I shall now casually ask him about it and then act according to his pleasure. Another beautiful lesson. That I'll casually ask him. You suss it out. Is he ready to give it to me? So he's not taking the teacher. Remember, he started off with ignorance about what? Not only about who he is, what creation is, what Lord is. Now, from first verse of chapter 7 till the last verse of chapter 10, the Lord has said, this is what I am. And Arjuna has not got enough of it. He wants more. And what is that more? He wants the total package. He wants it all in one go. Because he knows, Krishna himself has told, that infinite number of lives you and me can continue talking about my vibhutis, my expressions. But I am other than them. And I am much more than all the vibhutis put together. Why? Because all the specific expressions in this creation occupy only a part of my being. I am much more than what you are experiencing this cosmos. So Arjuna wants the total deal. And that is what he is saying, that I shall now casually ask him about it and then act according to his pleasure. Thinking thus, he made bold to ask him, but with some trepidation. But he did it so skillfully that the Lord, in reply to his one or two questions, disclosed to him his universal form. O sages, the mere sight of the calf makes the cow stand up with a clatter. How will she then withhold her milk when the calf begins to suckle it? When the calves come back after going for graze or whatever, or they are waiting, and the mother cow has gone out with Krishna and Balram and other cowherds, the moment they hear the sound of their baby, their calf, she is ready. How much more it will be when he's caught the nipple and sucking the milk? How much more she'll be willing to give more and more milk to the baby. Exactly the same way. Arjuna, the calf, Krishna, the cow. Arjuna has caught Krishna. How? Through words. Why will the mother Krishna not give him more than he is poor? He also wants to pour out. Because here is one disciple, here is one devotee who is so qualified, who is ready, who is capable, who is worthy. See, every teacher, every parents are looking for a children like that. Teachers are looking for, are available for a student like that, isn't it? into whom they can pour everything that they have. See? Have we become that type of a student? So that this universe, this Lord, the Mahatmas can pour everything that there is into you. Swamiji sent me to one person in Girnar. I told you, I started from Varanasi and one mantra started in my head. Hari Om Tat Sat Jai Guru Datta. I couldn't sleep the whole night, 3 days. I could not sleep. Mantra is going on, it's not allowing me, it's not stopping only. And when I reached there after 3.5 days, the Mahatma is sitting at the door, at the gate, and outside the gate it is written, Hari Om Tat Sat Jai Guru Datta. I had never been there. And the Mahatma says, oh, at last you have come. And then same evening, he called me to his room and he said, yes, what do you want? I said, I want Swarup Darshan. I want to be established in me. If you can help me in whichever way. He says, I'll show you my way. He was a Kundalini sadhak. He says, I'll give you whatever I know. Can you get up in the morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock? I said, yes, what time? He says, be ready at 4 in the hall here. The room will be open and we'll begin. For 9 days, every day, he kept his hand on my head. I don't know what he did. 10-15 minutes. And after 9 days, he said, I have given you whatever I had, I have poured it into you. Now it's up to you to unfold it. Krishna will also do the same thing. He'll pour everything into it. Everything into the student. Because he's available at this moment. The creation also unveils itself when we are ready, when we are integrated. Unveils means what we see is only names and forms. Unveiling means we see the substratum behind all the names and forms. See? If you take in Panchadashi, this thought comes, if the student there says, how do I see this reality in the creation? You keep saying everything is this reality. How do I see the reality in creation? I see space, I say air, fire, water, earth. How do I see the reality? My attention always goes to the forms and the names. He says, okay, let's take the first one. Takes one example. He says space. He says, what is space? This is space. I know this is space. This space is agreeable or very dear to me because without space I cannot exist. Agree? He says yes. What other quality of space is there? Space's quality is? What is the quality of space? Huh? No, that is accommodation. It accommodates. The whole universe is in the space. Space is not in something. So the quality, its specific quality is to accommodation, roominess, and I know this is space, I know this space is dear to me, and it has a quality called accommodativeness. So this quality of accommodativeness or the quality of sound, sound is another quality of space. This is the illusory aspect of space. And what is the real aspect? This is existence. I know this is consciousness. This is very dear to me. Anand. So this Satchidanand, which is hidden behind the accommodativeness and the sound, that is the reality. But sound and accommodativeness is what we perceive. Come to fire. This is fire. I know fire. The fire is very dear to me. And what is the quality of the fire? Heat and light. Its own quality. Heat and light of fire is the illusory aspect. Asti Bhati Priya, this is the reality. And that reality, this existence, consciousness, bliss or Asti Bhati Priya, this is I am. So I am my own nature, I am superimposing on that fire. The first three. The last two are the illusory aspect. Everything in this, the teacher says, Vidyaranya Swami says, everything in this creation, as you keep practicing it again and again. So now this camera is there. This is a camera. I know this is a camera. This is the camera is very, very dear to me. And what is the quality, specific quality of the camera? That it has a form, that it can capture, it can video, it can record, it can make a call, it can SMS, etc., email, etc. All those are its qualities. All those qualities are illusory. The real aspect of it is Asti Bhati Priya. It is Bhati. I know it is Priya. It is dear to me. This is borrowed to or lent out to this camera from the self. So just take another example, if you can understand. I'm sure you can understand. Mud. Mud becomes a pot. You make a pot out of it. Mud was before also, mud is now also in the pot. But what is the quality of a pot? It is hardness. It has a pot space. Tung tung tung, it can make sound, a particular sound. It is useful. Are these qualities there in the mud? What are the qualities of the mud? It can be molded. No, but what are the main qualities of the mud? Earth. What are the qualities of the earth? First is, it can crackle, it can make sound when the earth moves. Second is, you can feel it. Third is, it can be made into some form. Earth has a form, various countries say that. Fourth one, go systematically. Then is taste, you can taste the mud and you can smell the mud. Can you do all these four about the pot? Yes, but there is something extra. And what is that extra? The form is there, the name is there, and its particular quality is its usefulness, its accommodativeness. Because you created a space in that space was unavailable in the mud. But now when it is made into a pot, the pot is hard, it is brittle, it can be broken, but the mud remains the same. But so all these extra qualities are the illusory qualities. But the first five qualities that we told you, they are pervading every pot. That is the reality. So the teacher says that when you are moving around in this world, interact with everything, every experience. Be very clear that Asti Bhati Priya, this is, I know this is, and this is dear to me. Let it be a wife, let it be a child, let it be a laptop, let it be a weather, let it be the sun shining in the sky, let it be your body, let it be your emotions, let it be your convictions, ideas, everything you can interact this way. And the specific quality of that particular thing is the illusory aspect. So this way, come back to the source, come back to the original, come back to the essence. That is the way of Panchadashi. Arjuna is also wanting that. And that idea will be presented in further chapter somewhere in Bhagavad Gita. Gyan Marg mein aayega. Abhi we are in still devotion. So Arjuna wants he does not want to go step by step. He has seen, he has understood what teacher told him from first verse of chapter 7 till last verse of chapter 10. But now he wants to synthesize the whole knowledge and make it his own. He wants a direct experience of it. No more second-hand knowledge, because right now the knowledge is the words of the teacher and the ear of Arjuna. And he is trying to trying to work out in his head, this is what he means, this is what he means, but he's not getting a clear, how can you get some clear picture of something that which is transcendental? So here, he says, thinking thus, he made bold to ask him now, but with some trepidation. But he did it so skillfully that the Lord, in reply to his one or two questions, disclosed to him his universal form. The mere sight of the calf makes that example we have seen, makes the cow pour the milk out. पाहापातया पांडवाचे नावे जो कृष्ण राणी प्रतिपाळू धावे तया ते अर्जुने जव पुसावे तव साहिल काई तो सहजेची स्नेहाचे अवतरण आणि येरू स्नेहा घातले आहे माझवण ऐसिये मिळवणी वेगळेपण उरे हेची बहु म्हणूनी अर्जुनाची या बोला सरिसा देव विश्वरूप होईल आपैसा तोची पहिला प्रसंगू ऐसा एकीजे तरी. He says, see for yourself, how can the Lord who rushed to the forest to protect the Pandavas withhold his reply to the question of Arjuna? Lord Krishna is love incarnate, and this love had received the leaven of Arjuna's love. It is therefore really surprising that they remained separate even after they were on the point of becoming one. The Lord acceded to the request of Arjuna and showed him the universal form. I shall describe this event from the very start. Please listen. They continued. From whose point Arjuna and Krishna are separate? From the worldly point, from the Arjuna's standpoint. From Krishna's point of view, is there any separation? He is one without a second. He is established in it every moment of his existence. So now the questions of Arjuna. Arjuna uvacha madanugrahaya paramam goyam adhyatma sanjnitam yat vayoktam vachastena mohoyam vigato mama. He says, as a favor to, Arjuna says, as a favor to me you have propounded the ultimate mystery called the self, by which my delusion is gone. Remember, chapter 1 and till chapter 9 and in 10 there was no question, but till 9 Arjuna has only expressed his ignorance. I want to know, I don't know this, please tell me this, what is karma, what is meditation, what is this, what is that. He has not shown knowledge, he is only showing his ignorance, and he wants to remove that ignorance. But here, first time, he is saying, he is not talking about removing the ignorance, he is wanting the experience instead of removing ignorance. He is saying it very categorically that everything that you have told me for so long, as I said before, from first verse of chapter 7 till here, I have known. You have told me. Here what he says, by which my delusion is gone. So till now he was deluded, having concluded with the Vibhuti Yoga in chapter 10, his delusion is gone, his confusion is gone. Why? How the confusion is gone? Because he has surrendered himself to the Lord. The Lord has provided him a vision, at least intellectual vision, that he alone is, there is nothing else. Whatever has happened in the past, what is happening now, whatever is going to happen in the future, everything is by the will of the divine. Nothing is without his will. What was Arjuna's problem in the beginning, first chapter? I don't want to kill my dear ones. I don't want to kill my teacher. I don't want to kill my grandsire. I don't want to be the cause of killing my brothers. I don't. Because of these actions that I will commit, people will become destitute. There will be pillage in the society. People will take advantage of the weak. I will go to hell. All these conclusions he had come to in his life. All those delusions are gone. And what is the way? What is the sure short way of removing these delusions? By coming to the self. By surrendering to the self. What do you mean by self I am and surrendering to the self? What does this mean? What does it mean? As much as you may talk about the self, the reality, the Lord, right now, every one of us is still functioning through the mind. We think we are the mind, isn't it? And self is not only the mind, but beyond the mind also. It is supporting the mind, expressing as allowing the mind to express on its surface, yet it is transcendental to the mind. And we are still caught up in the words only. See? This delusion, this misunderstanding, this ignorance about his own essential nature, Arjuna has got cleared. That everything is divine. Now he wants a direct experience. मग पार्थू देवा ते म्हणे जी तुम्ही मज कारणे वाच केले जे न बोलणे कृपानिधे जय महाभूते ब्रह्मी आटती जीव महादादीचे ठाव फिटती ते तैजे देव होऊनी ठाकती ते विस्वणे शेषीचे होते हृदयाचिये परिवरी रोविले कृपणाचिये परी शब्द ब्रह्मासही चोरी जयाची केली ते तुम्ही आजी आपुले मज पुढाही फोडिले जया अध्यात्म ओवाळिले ऐश्वर्य हरे ते वस्तू मज स्वामी एकी हेळा दिधली तुम्ही हे बोलो तरी आम्ही तुझ पावोनी कैचे परी साचची महामोहाची पुरी बुडाले आ देखोनी सीसवरी तुवा आपण पे घालोनी श्रीहरी मग काढिले माते एक तू वाचूनी काही विश्वी दुजियाची भाष नाही की आमुचे कर्म पाही जे आम्ही आधी म्हणू. He says, then Arjuna said, O gracious Lord, you have explained to me very clearly what is beyond speech. When the five gross elements get dissolved in Brahman and the self and Maya became merged in you without leaving a trace, the form that you have is your resting place. Only it can be spoken in this way. What is the resting space you cannot talk about. What is the self you cannot talk about. Because the only way of communicating is the language, the thought, the words. And the Lord or the Paramatma or the self is beyond the words, beyond the mind, grasp of the mind. And mind functions only in thoughts. Thoughts are nothing but words. So what is that place? Where Maya becomes merged in you without leaving a trace behind. What is that? What is the expression of Maya? Name and form. Where there is no name and form left behind. Even the word Brahman is not left behind to be called as Brahman. Lord as Lord, no. Shiva, Vishnu, no. What is. Continuing, he says, You have laid bare before me the secret of your heart, which you had not even communicated to the Vedas. See, you have laid bare the secret of your heart, which you have not communicated to the Vedas, because Vedas cannot tell you what the truth is. Vedas cannot make you realize the self. Vedas cannot make you realize the truth. They can give you the pathway, but the destination, they are indicating this is the destination. Like he said here, that place where there is no trace left behind by the Maya, that place is the resting place. But there is nothing left. That is the resting place. It's conscious space. So he says, you have not given even this vision, who you are, you have not even communicated to Vedas, because they can't tell me. You imparted to me in a moment the knowledge of the self, for which Lord Shiva had renounced his riches and become an ascetic. In a moment the Lord gave him the knowledge. When did he give him? Chapter 2. Where the Lord first scolds Arjuna, Klebya Masmagam Partha, don't be an impotent. Arjuna says, how dare someone scold me like this? But then he wakes up. And then he says, Karpanya dosho pahata swa, pichhami toam dharma sammudha cheta, yat shreya syat nishchitam bruhi tanme, Shishyasteham shadi mam tvam prapannam. I am your student and I am your disciple. But I still think all the doubts that I have presented before in the chapter 1, that I don't want to kill my relatives, my teacher, this, that, all the list that I gave you, I still think that my conclusion is the correct one. But I surrender to you to change it, and please, yat shreyam Bruhi Nishchaya, what is that word? Karpanya dosho padasva prichhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yat shreya syat nishchitam bruhitan. Nishchitam bruhitan. What does that mean? Nishchitam. Tell me conclusively. Give me a conclusive solution. And what is a conclusive solution? I'm asking you guys. What is a conclusive solution? Which leaves no doubts. That's one answer. Others? What is the conclusive solution?
Conclusive solution for
whatever Arjuna has asked, or about life, what is the conclusive solution about life? I'm just asking you, what is the understanding that you have in your mind about conclusive solution? That there are no doubts left. आप क्या बोलते हो? बोलो.
other than Maya.
क्या?
Like if you take Maya out of the world, then remaining is the conclusive solution.
So you mean to say Maya is other than the Lord? Maya can exist apart from the Lord? That is not the truth. Maya is the potentiality of the Lord.
Isn't it conclusive proof when you are that, when you kind of taste it, when you be that?
I'm not asking subjective experience. I'm asking you, what does conclusive, what was the word? Solution mean?
Without doubt.
No, you're giving me an answer. I am asking you, what does conclusive solution mean?
That's what I wanted to know.
No,
Conclusive solution means when...
everything that I need to know.
The conclusive solution is such a solution after which no doubts are left, nothing more needs to be known afterwards. There's no more seeking afterwards. So nishchitam bruhi tanme means tell me conclusively answer to pacify my doubts in such a way that such doubts or any other doubt never ever appears in my mind. That will be the conclusive solution. And what was from verse number 10 in chapter 2 till verse number 30 or 32? What did Lord talk about? What is Atma? Atma is that which cannot be burnt, which cannot be cut, which is the essence of everyone, that which is one without a second, that it seems to be many but actually is one. Huh? The whole, so many verses he talks about that. And how much time did it take? Only 2 questions he put. The moment he surrendered, I am your disciple and I am your devotee, 2 verses, 3 verses later, sentences later, the Lord immediately gave him the answer. Now he remembers, Arjuna, that you are so compassionate, O Lord, that my mere once I asked and you are so, loving, that if a person, and he asks sincerely, whenever you ask sincerely, any teacher, why a teacher, this whole cosmos will turn itself upside down to satisfy your query. But it must be a sincere search. You call out, answer comes. In which manner it comes, it's not your problem. The nature supports. And therefore, where are we? But after attaining you, how can I think myself as separate from you and speak thus? Truly you rescued me from the flood of delusion in which I had sunk up to the head. There is nothing in this world which is without you, but it is my great misfortune that I am talking to you as if I am separate from you. So, what does this show? That there is absolutely no doubt as to the nature of the Krishna that is standing in front of Arjuna, or in our life, the Lord. Whatever our concept of the Lord or the self is, they are not the concepts, they are reality. But this doubt comes, as Arjuna is, Neshwar Maharaj is saying here. He is putting it into the mouth of Arjuna in his commentary. That then I'm still feeling, I'm not able to synthesize this because I still find myself talking to the one who is all pervading, who is infinite, who is inside me, outside me, everywhere. And yet I'm talking to him, this is going a bit crazy, man. You see? These thoughts must have come to you also sometime or the other in one of the retreats. It must have struck you. But if you stay with it, answer will come. But we brush it aside. Why? Because it's too deep and it will just suck you away if you stay with it.
Most of the time because you try to use your intellect to
Correct.
find an answer.
Correct.
There is a word called the circular referencing.
Hmm?
In programming language, there is something called a circular referencing.
Circular referencing. Meaning?
You start from a point, you think you're going somewhere, but you come back to the same point. It goes on in an infinite loop. So that's how I used to always feel it.
It points to itself. That's the circular reference.
But it continues as a loop. You have that in your
But
logic.
if it is a loop, it is not right.
So it's not right. It's right because you start from a point and you think you're going somewhere, but it actually brings it back to yourself, to the same point again and again.
Okay.
From anywhere you start, it comes back. It's like you can go into it from anywhere. There is no end to it.
So that is fantastic.
It's,
That is fantastic. When you come to because thoughts normally take you away from yourself, but if you have the thought of the Lord who is inside and outside, whatever way, and you think that everything is the Lord, And what I gave you the example of Panchadashi, every thought will bring you back to yourself only then. Every experience will bring you back to the self.
That's the same thing Swami Vivekananda had said.
What?
Same thing, you come back to the same point. After doing all this,
It will always come.
come to the 0 point.
But whether you take it as a linear event, that I start from birth and one day I will come back to myself, that is also true. That might, if that is your conviction. But here we are saying that every moment, the fact is that I have not gone anywhere. See, who goes away and comes back? The loop is not for the self. The loop is for the mind. Self does not go anywhere. It doesn't need to. But because we think we are the mind cannot think but go out and come back.
It's the same thing Nisargadatta Maharaj also says, like everybody is a point of conscience. It's a point in consciousness. In
Consciousness.
So from my point, if I'm in the whole, from my perspective, this is a point of consciousness, and I'm looking from here into the whole world. From that
Your
point, your point, it's all different points, but it's all the same. From
That-
whichever point you're starting, it's the same. It's in the same whole.
And yet there is no point.
Yes, there is no. It's
Yet
just-
there is no point.
It's where
So
the mind-
only for word play we are using this type of
Yes,
language.
just
Just to give an
Explanation.
Yes.
something has to be said,
True.
so we are saying it like that.
Like you.
Otherwise it's just the one thing, that's it. And that Arjuna is still, it has not clicked to him. That how come then I am speaking to infinity?
Standing up.
How can I speak to infinity? How can I speak to the reality? This is his question. There is nothing in this world which is without you, but it is my great misfortune that I am talking to you as if I am separate from you. You can take it in this way also, that Arjuna, because it has not happened to him, he is intellectually convinced, but why he is saying that it is my misfortune? Because he hasn't got that divine vision yet, where he sees that he is not, where he loses his individuality and merges into the divine. That has not happened to him yet. A spark of individuality is still there. And till that individuality is there, the communication between the seeker and the sought, the seeker and the Lord, it will go on. This happens on the seat of meditation also. You are thinking about the self. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I is still a thought, which means it has not still clicked. Till the penny doesn't drop. Am I an idiot that I am asking myself who am I? I am. Why am I asking who am I? Like the penny dropped for Parshuram. He went to the mountain, dug the mud, made a statue of the goddess. For 12 years he did the puja of Tripura Devi. After 12 years he realized, man, I dug the mud. Is mud important or I am important? I am. I made the statue of the goddess and gave her importance that she is divine. Who gave the importance? I gave the importance. I did the puja of this goddess whom I created. Then who is important? Goddess is important, I am important. And with this doubt he says, goes to Dattatreya Maharaj, he says, according to you I did everything. But what is more important? I is more important or the mud is more? The mud out of which the Tripura was made, to which I gave a status of divinity. Who is more important? That one or? He says, good, it took you 12 years to come to this point, to this realization. He says, of course you are. Then what is reality? You are the reality. He says, 12 years ago when I came to you, before you I met one Mahatma, I asked him and I left him because he also said the same thing, that I am the reality. Now it clicks to him that because he did not accept the first Mahatma's diktat, he asked the Mahatma, who am I? What is reality? He says, you are the reality. Yeah. Without doing anything, I am the reality. No tapasya, no sadhana, no pranayam, no yoga, no scriptures, nothing, and I am the reality. He says, yeah, you are right. You go to that teacher. That teacher made him 12 years of sadhana. And after 12 years of running around, climbing a mountain, digging the soil, making the statue, doing the puja, eating only one meal a day, sitting in that hot sun and doing the puja every day for 12 years. No going around anywhere. It's austerity. Because the itch in him that something needs to be done in order to attain something. Now Parshuramji realizes that my non-acceptance of the words of the first Mahatma brought about this 12-year journey for me. Our non-acceptance of our own essential nature, which is Satchidananda Swarup, brings about the journey of seeking.
Whole life.
Whole life. Why whole life? Lifetimes, people, for some people. Lifetimes. Because we don't accept. No, how can that be? Tum Bhagwan ho. You know, some Swamiji says, someone he goes and says, Arey Mahatma ji. So he says, नहीं स्वामी जी हम कहाँ महात्मा अच्छा गधे जी अरे बेवकूफ जी नहीं स्वामी जी अरे पहले महात्मा बोला तो यू डोंट एक्सेप्ट बेवकूफ बोला तो ऑल्सो यू डोंट एक्सेप्ट we must accept ourselves. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt that we are of the nature of infinite divinity. We may not know it, it may not be our experience, but start accepting it at least. And pray to the divine, pray to the Lord that please bring it about before my last breath. And those who have done it, those who have got this, come to abide in that experienceless experience, they are called Jivan Mukta Purusha, who continue to live in this. Even today there are so many. See? Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, मी जगी एक अर्जुनु ऐसा देही वाहे अभिमानू आणि कौरवांते या स्वजनू आपुले म्हणे याही वरी याते मी मारीन म्हणे तेणे पापे केरिगेन ऐसे देखत होतो दुःस्वप्न तोचेव विला प्रभू देवा गंधर्व नगरीची वस्ती सोडूनी निघालो लक्ष्मीपती होतो उदकाचिया आती रोहिणी पीत जी किरडू तरी कापडाचे परी लहरी येत होती आसाचे ऐसे वाया मरतया जीवांचे श्रेय तुवा घेतले आपुले प्रतिबिंब नेणता सिंह कुहा घालील देखोनी आता ऐसा धरीचे तेवी अनंता राखिले माते. He says, Arjuna is saying, I was entertaining the egoistic feeling that I am a person by name Arjuna and used to think the Kauravas to be my kinsmen. We also feel the same way, that I am so and so person and what is my existence due to? And as long as I think I am someone, naturally there will be relationships. To live at relationship level, you are inviting trouble. What is relationship? Mother, father, brother, daughter, sister, uncle, auntie, grandfather, grandmother, mother-in-law, etc., etc. So he says that I used to think the Kauravas to be my kinsmen. On the top of that, I suffered from a bad dream that by slaying the Kauravas, I would commit sin and meet with a bad fate. See, in Karna, there is a Surya Putra Karna serial going on. In that one incident comes, and that is Karna is killed at the end. And when is he killed? When he is off his chariot, his Vijay Dhanush is in the chariot, and he is trying to take the wheel of the chariot out of the mud. It has got stuck there. And Krishna tells Arjuna, kill him now. He says, give him a challenge. He says, Krish, I invoke you for a battle. He says, let me get my Vijay Dhanush. He says, Krishna says, tell him no time. You have to fight the way you are right now. Karna says, this is not fair. Krishna says, was it fair when you kept mum when Draupadi was being disrobed? He says, but I have always fought for bringing about a positive change in the society. But he says, your goal may be lofty, but the means that you have employed are corrupt. You have taken Duryodhana's help. So you, just because you have got great ideas and lofty goals and divine goals, and for that you can't do anything in order to get to that. By hook or by crook you cannot get to that goal. You will eventually, but you have to pay the price. He says, you kept quiet when Abhimanyu was killed by all the people, so many people, warriors fighting with one young lad, and they killed him mercilessly, and they danced around him, and you watched that. Where was your valor that time? Where was your anger at that time? Where was your righteousness at that time? See? He says, he tells Arjuna, kill him. Arjuna says, how can I kill one without a bow and arrow? He says, if he picks up his bow, you will never be able to defeat him. You have to kill him now. I told you when the day started that you have to listen to every word that I am telling you. It will be only for your benefit. He says, why? Because Karna is a holy man, but having a wrong company. And because of that wrong company, this holy man has committed few sins. To unburden those sins from his mind, he needs to be killed and made free. Who can say that? You and me say, the way we are at this moment, we will be put behind bars. Because we don't have the capacity or the knowledge or the acumen or the capacity, capability, ability to protect ourselves. Because we still think we are the body. But the Lord, even though he is expressing as the body, yet he is free. And he can say that. He says he is a holy person. We have to free him from the sin and frustration that he has been carrying his whole life. See? This is what is happening to Arjuna. This is how his vision is slowly getting transformed. It's a gradual transformation. Things, for some people it may happen spontaneously, but then it goes away also spontaneously. But to remain steady in that, it's not just an intellectual conviction, but in that vision that is presented by scriptures or Mahatmas or the Lord, his grace has to be there. And your availability has to be there. So here he says, on the top of that I am suffering from a bad dream that slaying the Kauravas I would commit sin and meet up with a bad fate. That's why in the first chapter Arjuna says that if I kill my own cousin brothers, I will go to hell. At that very time you woke me up, O Lord. I left the city of Gandharvas, divine singers, and was rushing to the mirage to shake the thirst. I was experiencing the sharp pangs of snake bite, although the snake was made of cloth only. I was also under the delusion of ignorance that I was dying. Why? You remember the lips were parched, the hands were, they could not hold the bow and the arrows, his knees were jelly-like, and he was collapsing as if the life was getting sucked out of him. This is what happens when despondency takes over. where you feel you are good for nothing. And one must come to this stage. On the seat of meditation, one must come to this stage where you come to realize that all your efforts cannot bring about the dissolution of the mind. The dissolution of the ego cannot be brought about by your thinking. But for that, just by thinking here now, I told it, oh, mind cannot be removed by my thinking. Nothing will happen. It has to come from within, as your own realization that no amount of my efforts is ever going to dissolve the ego. Ego gets dissolved only by the grace. Only by the grace. Mind gets dissolved only by the grace. Because even if you dissolve the mind, the thought that I have dissolved the mind is still there. Even if the whole world is not troubling you before you go to sleep, but the thought of sleep is still there. That thought of sleep also must get dissolved, isn't it? You see? You must get sucked in. It must suck you in. And then the one who was desiring sleep is no longer available. He doesn't know that he was desiring. He doesn't say that, oh, I got my sleep, I'm sleeping. He doesn't say that. Same way, when we come to the divine, when the divine sucks us into his grace, there's no one left behind to say, I have realized the divine. This pang of separation, this pang of not dissolving, not having been dissolved into the Lord, even though knowing who the Lord is what is troubling Arjuna right now. Because he's seeing Lord, he's saying, I'm asking you, I'm talking to you, why is this there still? Why still I am separate if everything is you? Why am I still separate? Why am I experiencing you as separate to me? Why am I not merged into you at this very moment? When these type of thoughts come, then alone the grace will appear. Which is always, it will reveal. Grace is always there everywhere. The camera in the phone is always there. If I don't switch it on, it will not do it, capture any image. You have to switch it on. So how do you switch on the grace? By surrendering to the grace, by thinking about the grace, by contemplating on the Lord. With this disposition that even this contemplation, this thinking, this feeling of surrender towards the Lord is also His grace alone. It pains you to be separate. Pains you to be separate. All the credit to you that you rescued me from this delusion, like that of a lion who was duped into believing that the image which he saw in the well was of a different lion, but was prevented from leaping into it. O Lord, you saved me from self-destruction. Is self-destruction possible? No. Self can never be destroyed. So when the word self-destruction is being used, it is about the relative self. Self-destruction, in another way you can say, self-destruction is when you are not abiding in the self as the self. That is self-destruction. When you still see the multiplicity, you see the duality, you see the sense of, there is a sense of difference. That is the self-destruction.
Body level.
Exactly. Where this unifying factor is missed. You go, see, now with this knowledge, when you go to the ocean, you will still see the waves, but you know it is all what? Water. You will still see the clock, but you know it is nothing but the thread. Similarly, you will still see the names and forms, but your attention will be on the Satchidanand Swarup. And that Satchidanand Swarup, I am. Without me, nothing is. This is all an expansion of me alone. Expansion of me alone, not the expansion of the self. expansion of the potentiality that is inherent within the self. Self has got nothing to do with the expansion or contraction. The mind, in the mind there is expansion and contraction. Contraction is deep sleep, expansion is dream and waking. Self has got nothing to do with it. Then where is it happening? In the mind. What is the mind? Potentiality of the mind. And that potentiality expresses in two ways, manifest and unmanifest. Manifest, waking and dream, unmanifest, deep sleep. Taking a position at the level of waker, dreamer or deep sleeper is self-destruction. Coming to be the witness as the supporter of all the three, yet not all the three, there is no destruction, there is no gain or no loss. The phenomena will still continue. एवी माझा तरीत ये तुलेवरी एथ निश्चय होता अवधारी जे आताची साता ही सागरी एकत्र मिळीजे हे जगची आघवे बुडावे वरी आकाश ही तुटोनी पडावे परी झुंजणे न घडावे गोत्र जेशी मज ऐसिया अहंकाराची ये वाढी मिया अग्रह जळी दिधली होती बुडी चांगची तू जवळा एवी काढी कवणू माते नाथिले आपण पा एक मानिले आणि नवतया नाम गोत्र ठेविले थोर पिसे होते लागले परी राखिले तुम्ही मागा जळत काढिले जोहरी तैते देहासीच भय अवधारी आता हे जोहर वाहर दुसरी चैतन्या सकट. He says, I had resolved that even if the seven seas met to engulf the world, or the whole world was submerged under waters of or the heaven fell in a crash, I would not face the eventuality of a war with my kith and kin. I was thus plunged headlong in the depths of obstinacy due to my uncontrollable self-conceit. These are thought fixations which every person goes through. One girl used to stay with us, and she had all a list that I want the husband, my prospective husband, to be like this quality, this, you should be able to do this, everything. Hey Baba, you want all this, but what are you? What qualities do you have? Can't make food, doesn't keep the house clean, doesn't make her bed every day, doesn't take shower every day, very manipulative, number one liar, and you want all these qualities in a person. How will you attract? Huh? You should be also, to some extent you should be there. Then that type of person will come. I would not face the eventuality of a war with my kith and kin. I was thus plunged headlong in the depths of obstinacy due to my uncontrollable self-conceit. It was nice that you were standing close to me at this time. Otherwise, who else could have rescued me? Although a non-entity, I thought myself to be somebody and considered the wrong men as my relations. Although a non-entity. You know, some people think they are indispensable at work, they are indispensable in the family. As a mother or father or a grandfather or a grandmother, we are indispensable. Without me, these children will try once. They perform better. There is a child in our house, parents are around, he is a Rakshasa. Today is the first day that the father had gone somewhere, mother has not come back from work, and the child was playing, and the father said, I have to go somewhere, and you play with the kids. They went away. and he is in the front with me and mom. Sadhu Baba. Perfect. Can't complain about any behavior of his. Yet when parents are there, Rakshas. See? Similarly, the moment we become someone, we become a father, mother, daughter, brother, sister, we become the body, we become a breathing person, we become an emotional person, we become an intellectual. Whatever you become, you have lost the plot. You have to empty, you have to become nothing. You have to be nothing. So here he says, although I am a non-entity, I made the mistake of becoming someone. I became the brother, I became the grandson of the grandsire, I became the father of Abhimanyu, I became the husband of Draupadi and Subhadra, I became the upholder of dharma. I became the sinner who will be killing these people. So he is recognizing where he was going wrong. Everything that is happening is by the will of the divine. So he says here, it was nice that you were standing close to me. So even though Krishna is standing close to Arjuna, who is standing close to you? Wall. Who is standing close to you? Your husband, wife? Lord is ever closer than the closest to us. You be ready to invoke and remember him, he will give you an answer from within, whatever is required to be done. Under any circumstance, it will be directly proportional to your surrender to him. You surrender to him, you call out to him. Where the grace, as we said, grace is always. You press the camera and the camera says, no, you have done too much sin by not putting me on at all. I'll take some time to come up. It doesn't. The moment you press camera up, camera comes up, isn't it? There's no delay. Same way, the grace is also ever with us. All we have to become is aware of it. Don't become alienated from it. Alienation comes about when you become someone. So what is the secret of living? Allow the phenomena of individuality to continue, but keep your mind ever immersed in this realization that I am essentially divine. And that divinity is all that there is. You may not understand it, it's okay. I was possessed by this great madness, but you saved me from it. When we were on the point of being burnt in the house of lack, you rescued us from there. But there was only danger to our. But then there was only danger to our body. But in this fire of delusion, there was a risk of the destruction of my very own self. See? One must not live an ignorant life. Life has brought you, all of you, the Bhagavad Gita into your life. Life has brought me, the Bhagavad Gita in my life. The mind is able to appreciate it. You are able to appreciate it. Live those convictions. Remember them. Contemplate on them. Meditate on them. That how is this Lord all pervasive inside and outside? God, reveal it to me. Don't continue to succumb to the name and form. Don't continue to be lustful of the world, of the objects, of the people, of the beings, of the possessions. There is no end to it. We may speak very, very high words and be able to give lectures, etc., and understand also. But inside, if the what do you call, the lust for the world is still there, all this has gotten still deluded. Reclaim. But then there was only danger to her body, but in this fire of delusion there was a risk of the destruction of my very self. Chinmayananji used to say, introspect, detect, negate, grow and be wise. The other is what? Get opposite of that. This is meditation. Other is what comes in chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. Attachment leads to identification or attachment, it leads to desire. Desire has two options. Either it will be fulfilled or it will not be fulfilled. If it gets fulfilled, it will become greed. Greed cannot be fulfilled. If it is not fulfilled, you always become angry, whoever is the obstacle in allowing your desire to, stopping your desire to be fulfilled or your greed to be fulfilled. The moment anger comes, there is loss of memory. Where there is loss of memory, there is delusion. And due to delusion, there is no discrimination of what is right and wrong. And that is the destruction that Arjuna is talking about. That you self-destruct. When you lose the semblance of what is righteous and what is unrighteous, what is right and what is wrong in life. Why? Because we are living under the purview, under the umbrella of attachment. And its progeny is desire, anger, delusion, loss of memory and lack of discrimination. Discrimination is not man and woman, up and down, hunger or no hunger, Chinese or Indian. This is not discrimination. Discrimination is between always truth and what is untruth. Truth is the self and untruth is everything other than the self. That is discrimination. Once you cannot understand what is discrimination, that's the fall of man. दुराग्र हिरण्याक्षे माझी बुद्धी वसुंधरा सुदलीय काखे मग महार्णव गवाक्षे रेघोनी ठेला तेथ तुझे नी गोसावीपणे एक वेळ बुद्धीची आठाया येणे हे दुसरे वराह होणे पडिले तुझ ऐसे अपार तुझे केले एकी वाचा काथ मी बोले परिपाच ही पालव मोकलिले प्रज मज प्रती ते काही न वचेची वाया भले यश फावले देवराया जे साध्यंत माया निरसिली माझी आजी आनंद सरोवरीची कमळे तैसे हे तुझे डोळे आपुलिया प्रसादाची रावळे जया लागी करीती. He says, just as demon Hiranyaksha had seized the earth in his armpit and hid himself in the bottom of the sea, so my perverse obstinacy had smothered my reason in the abyss of delusion. It is through your power that this reason was restored to me, but for that you had to assume a second boar incarnation. This is indeed an incomprehensible feat. How can I describe it in words? I can only say that you have saved my life thereby. The trouble you took for me has not been wasted, and you have succeeded in destroying my ignorance. How can a person suffer from delusion after he has received the graceful glance of your eyes, which are like lotuses blooming in the lake of bliss? So this is all the gratitude that is pouring out of the heart of Arjuna. If our gratitude does not pour out for our teacher, our masters, our scriptures, from whom we are gaining so much, you lost the plot, isn't it? हा होतया हि आणि मोहाची भेटी हे कायसी पावळी गोठी केवती मृगजळाची वृष्टी वडवा नरळेसी आणि मी तव दातारा ये कृपेची ये रिघोनी गाभारा घेत आहे चारा ब्रह्मरसाचा तेढे माझा जी मोह जाये एथ विस्मो काही आहे तरी उद्धरलो की तुझे पाये शिवतले आहाती. He says, it would be improper to say so. How can the water of mirage quench the submarine fire? O merciful God, I have the innermost sanctuary of your grace and I am now experiencing fully the knowledge of Brahman. Is it any wonder then that my delusion is totally dispelled? O God, the merciful touch of your feet has brought about my salvation. See, one thing is coming to know the self. It's another thing to see the self as the whole creation. The whole creation included in the self is Anvaya, all inclusiveness, all exclusiveness. Remember, first we started with I was caught up in delusion, I have become free of it now. Delusion is in the mind. You have become free of it. You are recognized, you are the witness. You are the Sakshi, Chaitanya. This is exclusiveness. You are excluding everything and coming to yourself. But now that I have come to ascertain that I am this uncorruptible self, which is without birth, unborn, undying, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Surupa. Now what next? The next part is this, that this self alone is the entire cosmos. It is supporting the whole cosmos. The whole cosmos is in this self, yet this self is independent of the cosmos. Which is your experience? All the roles that you play is nothing but you. You are supporting all the roles, but you are much more than the roles that you play. Now take that at the totality level. Exactly the same way. See? So in this way, Arjuna is pouring out what is going on in his mind, the gratitude, the grace, and a declaration that his delusion is permanently gone. Why? He is established in the self. What is the establishment in the self? He has got no doubt as to who he is. When you have got no doubt as to who you are, automatically the delusion is completely removed from your system. And therefore, bhavapyayau hi bhutanam shrutau vistarasho maya tvatta kamalapatraksha mahatmyamapi chavyayam. He says, for I have heard in detail from you, O lotus-eyed Krishna, of the origin and dissolution of beings and also your eternal glory. This he has heard from the first verse of chapter 7 till 10th, last verse of chapter 10. So he has heard, he remembers, understands, convinced of, directly perceiving everything. But he wants not in a linear manner, he wants it in a total manner. Now we will see this verse number 2 and 3 and 4. These 4 are his questions. And then the Lord will start answering. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरिः ॐ. श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ॐ.